Whenever you ask someone who their favorite superheroes are, you get the same responses. Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. But I'm about to introduce you to a real-life superhero. His name is Michael Denton, and he is the executive director of CI, Code Interactive. It's an amazing organization that teaches kids from impoverished communities how to code. Starting off his career as an entrepreneur in new media, Michael joined CI in 2012 and has taken it to new heights, earning him a spot as one of 2014's most influential philanthropists. So how did this Robin Hood of tech go from successful entrepreneur to philanthropist, teaching these kids the codes to success? It all starts with those words we've all said just a couple of times. What am I doing with my life? Let's find out. All right, so thank you for being here. Thank you for joining in this whole process. Why did you get into the nonprofit space? Why did you join CI Code Interactive?
I personally have a story that allowed me to use technology to be successful in life. I did not come from a very affluent background, but was constantly encouraged to keep tech as a computer specifically, as a hobby, and that allowed me to be more successful than anyone else from where I grew up, and feel a responsibility to make sure that the students around me have that same opportunity, or at least know that it exists for them. So that gave me an incredible motivation to, at first, participate with CI, then take the reins and make sure that it was being offered to more students.
So when your first day, executive director of CI, did you think you were gonna just stroll in? It was gonna be I'm just gonna walk on in, this is gonna be great, piece of cake, or did you get a rude awakening?
Rude awakening, absolutely. I think that I was very fortunate to come into an existing infrastructure and had an incredible support system. The gentleman that I mentioned before who introduced me to CI was still a board member and a successful businessman. So I had an ear. I had his ear to kind of ask for advice, but it has been we're now going into our 4th school year with the new program, and it has been a learning experience every single day. There's not a moment in this job that I don't find something new to take home and improve myself, improve the business, improve the program, improve the impact. Every single day I learn at least one thing. More likely I'm learning 10. It is a challenge. It is a real challenge to try to apply a for-profit entrepreneurial spirit to the nonprofit sector. It's similar enough that it's transferable, but it's different enough that it becomes challenging.
So let's talk about Code Interactive.
Yes.
Previously Camp Interactive.
That's right.
Does it still exist? And then why did you divert from the Camp Interactive and go straight into Code Interactive?
The organization will be 15 years old next year. We originally started as a safe place for students with troubled backgrounds, to all boys, to work together to kind of overcome some of their social challenges. The gentleman at the time who organized that, Michael Harris, passed away and handed the reins to Craig Meisner, my predecessor. At that time, the genuine impact of the organization, the mission, was to bridge the digital divide. And by that, we were defining it as providing access to the internet so that students who otherwise didn't have computers in their home could keep up with everyone else in the world. Around 2009, we recognized that giving a kid access to the internet was no longer our mission. Every kid had a computer in their pocket and access to the internet at all times. So bridging the digital divide was not necessary. Allowing them to research and learn on their own at their own pace was becoming more of our responsibility. So now that every kid had access to the internet, what were we going to do next was we had decided through a series of peeling back the layers of the onions and figuring out the focus of the organization that we were going to allow them to turn that access to the internet into a skill that was going to let them change the cycle of poverty for themselves.
Why only boys?
Michael Harris was a child psychologist, and he was working in the gang community of the Bronx, and knew that that community was very masculine. So he wanted to give young men a alternative to the gang environment.
Yeah, this is CI Code Camp, otherwise known as a hackathon. And students are identifying problems that are happening in their communities and in their lives. They're thinking of technical solutions and they're building them over the course of 24 hours. And they're working with awesome tech mentors who are volunteers from the community to get some really great mentorship in there too.
I'm a first-generation student from my family. The first family member to actually graduate college. I think it's super important that they learn and that education's for life. And so for me, if I can inspire one student today, that's what it's really about.
So who thought of this whole hackathon?
It actually came from tech companies. They found that this was a fun way to engage employees and to build new products. So Twitter came out of a Facebook hackathon as a product, yeah.
That's
and
incredible.
and then as they moved to universities, they took on this multi-day format and they became kind of like interviews for tech companies. We want our kids to participate in hackathons so that they're prepared for collegiate level hackathons. We want our kids to have access to those really cool experiences, and this is it. This is like the way for them to really learn in a tangible way.
So this is their dry run
Yeah,
to the big leagues.
exactly.
I was like, maybe there's just no room for me here, and I don't want any young black girl to ever feel that way because there's always room. And I think a big part of it is that the industry needs to be shaken up. And so just knowing that you can be yourself, you don't have to be someone else, like you don't have to pretend to be someone else or adopt someone else's persona, just be you.
How do you create the lesson plans to make all this happen?
So our teachers are teaching our kids how to code in the classroom, which is awesome. And we really focus on access for all students. Students with low literacy to students who are above grade level and performing really well.
They're the ones that are setting a lot of the trends. And so I think it's really important to be able for them to then be the creators of this technology, not just the users. I didn't know lawyers, I didn't know CEOs. I didn't know that I could be any of those, and I ended up doing both. But that was a long road. And I think that we can support these youth now by giving them those options, giving them sort of a pathway. And that way they have the options to think about what they want to do.
What's the greatest lesson you want to pass on to these guys?
I would have to say that tech is the center of everything, right? There's a saying that code is eating the world. And that's just to say that farming, teaching, being a lawyer, any profession that you go into in the future is going to be taken over by technology. The people who are coding and creating that technology for every industry are going to be the leaders and are going to be obviously very successful. And everybody else is going to be a little more left behind. So we want our kids to have those opportunities and to be those leaders in whatever industry they want to pursue. To do that, you need to learn how to code.
So for all intents and purposes, code is it.
This is
Code
it.
is the stage.
Yep.
You said somewhere, and it's funny because it was a quote and I wrote it instantly. You said teaching any teenager resilience is difficult, especially once you come from this sort of background.
Yeah.
So, and then you said the quote, you guys have a mantra, fail fast, succeed faster.
That's exactly right.
I love that. That is like a favorite quote of mine from now on. What does that mean to you?
Well, so coding as a whole is not try it once and you're done, right? I mean, the reality is even when it's right, it still has room for improvement. The reality is that if success is here and starting is here, you are going to fall 10 times more before you get to success. So the sooner you fall, the sooner you're going to find your way to the very end of this thing, right? So pick yourself up, try again. Success is still here. It has not moved. You're just at one of the hurdles that you've tripped over. Pick yourself back up, continue, and I promise you, you're probably going to fall at least one more time before you get to success. So just be ready. So we try to remind kids from the very beginning, you are going to fail. But the sooner you fail, the sooner you get to that trip, the sooner you can get up and work your way towards success.
I think there was a stat that 60 million kids are in poverty right now, and over half will still remain into their adult life, which crushed my heart.
Yep.
But this whole section of the population also has other problems. And how would you respond to, anyone that would say, is coding necessary, or is it even vital when they can't even pick up the instructions to code?
One of the unique things, in my opinion, about computer science education and the curricula that is being developed at the moment is that despite your math skills and your literacy skills, you are starting from a place that allows you to be on a level playing field as everyone else in the space. I do believe that a functioning knowledge of computer science is going to be necessary for anyone in the 21st century.
Do you think we're a little slow in the game because the internet has been around for so long and coding has been around for so long? I feel like we're just starting. The whole coding language has just started maybe in the last, I would say, 4 or 5 years. We all started knowing about, we didn't know what happened. It was like, it just appeared on the screen, great. So now we know about coding. So what do you think is why are we so lacking?
According to a Pew Research study last year, 63% of Blacks and Latinos identify as using mobile technology to solve their problems in everyday life. That's navigation, communication, right? They're using their phones the way everyone else does. 63% use their mobile device as the primary way to solve those problems. But they only Blacks make up, in the space right now, Blacks make up 2% of the computer science engineering population, and Latinos make up 3.5%. Right? So there's a massive disparity between the people who are using the technology and the people who are creating the technology, right? And this is not something that the technology companies are unaware of. They recognize this. Like Google specifically is proactively trying to find a way to increase diversity in their tech sector, in their tech staffing. And a lot of companies are, it's not unique to Google. The reality is that a product that is designed by a diverse workforce, a diverse set of minds that are coming at it from a variety of perspectives is only going to make that product more robust and more applicable to a broader set. So it's in the interest of these companies to begin to hire people who can add different perspective to the problem solution.
Have there been any success stories that you can tell me about?
Oh, we have.
I mean, you're
almost
almost 15 years old.
We have so many. This is my favorite part about doing the work that we do.
My name is Ashlia Bennett. I'm 16 and I've been part of CI for 4 years running.
My name is Irving Perez. I'm 17 and I've been with CI for 2 years now.
My name is Malachi Tyrell. I'm 18 and I've been with CI for about half a year.
Wow. All right, so I'm going to start with the question that I feel like everyone asks you at this age, but I promise you when you get into your 20s, they don't ask so much. What do you guys want to be when you grow up?
Oh, okay. I'm not particularly like a certain career, but I actually am like interested in film and tech. So like I want like an innovative way that I can fuse film and tech together and like to create an industry. So basically an entrepreneur with like knowledge in both fields.
I feel like I'm going to give a superficial answer, but I want to be happy. And then for an actual like career path, because this is what society wants, I want to I want to be a computer scientist. That's why I want to study computer science in college, specifically a QA engineer, because we get to break things, and I enjoy breaking things.
So for me, I don't really have like a set career path. I just enjoy creating things. Like with coding, you have the ability to create things. I also like video editing, where you can create things like that. I also do a little bit of drawing and whatnot. So I just want like a career where I can create something unique and create something new at the same time, be happy and make some money so I can pour it to people I love and whatnot.
Fantastic. So, Irving, what got you into CI in the first place? How did you hear about it?
My story is funny. I heard about it at school in 11th grade, at the beginning of 11th grade, and I was like super excited because I liked coding beforehand. So I decided, I should apply. I got denied, and and it was the most tragic thing ever because I was the most I feel like I was the most qualified candidate.
All of us here sitting here are minorities, just in case you didn't know. Are you guys worried going into college and going into the working force? Are you guys worried that you guys might come across any sort of negativity when it comes to your careers because of your race?
In any career, any field you go into, there's going to be people who are going to be like, oh, that person can't do anything. Oh, I'm better than that person. But at the end of the day, it's all about you and what you can do and what you can accomplish. So like, as long as you know that, oh, I'm qualified for this, I could do that, I could do this, then it doesn't matter what they really think about you. It matters what you put on the paper and what you show that you can do.
All right, so we are in day 2 of this hackathon. Like I said, you guys slept here. You guys have your PJs on, socks on, hair wild, all that's going. What have you learned so far, being the newest member of the team?
Yeah, so like I'm not that into coding right now because I just kind of started and there's a lot I have to learn. So throughout this entire process, I had a great mentor, Mike, and I basically told him, you know what, I want my website to do this, or I want our group's website to do this, and he was like, all right, this is how you do it. And so I would take what he said and I would put it on the paper and I would just learn through that process of what do I want to create and how do I do it.
I don't know if we're still in the same generation because I'm 10 years older than you guys. Because I'm still considered a millennial, but you guys, I guess, are baby millennials. And there's always that notion that we don't want to learn, we don't really care, we want to be Insta-famous. But here you guys are so in-depth in the coding situation. Do you feel like your generation gets a bad rap when it comes to these things?
I feel like they overgeneralized all of the
younger
generations because we're not all the same. A few bad eggs like make a big scene and then they just think, oh, all teenagers are like this, all teenagers are like that. But obviously, as you can see by like in the hackathon, we are not all like that. We actually like learning, we actually like putting effort into things, we like being challenged, we like having to struggle. Because what is life without having a bit of struggle?
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the plans? You've already got into college.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You better go do your homework, or that will be rescinded quickly. Any plans for college, or do you want to pull a Zuckerberg and just?
No. See, I'm a little iffy about it because it's like, okay, I know like we're gonna set up for failure, but right after the failure, I'm gonna have to pick everything up and then start over.
It's also valuable information because I can go to college now and like get a degree in something, and then especially with a liberal arts education, you can do so many other things. So it's like even if I decide for some godforsaken reason that I'm not gonna be a computer scientist, I can go and become a statistics major or accountant, or if I took a bunch of chemistry classes, I can go work in a lab producing chemicals. I don't know why I would do that, but still. It's just the wide range of opportunities. It's amazing.
Going to college is the way to like center all that around learning and around creating things and creating new experiences. So I feel like college is just like a very good next step no matter what I want to do in the future.
Okay. So when we hit 2:30 and they finally wrapped, they let you out, doors open, you're free to go, what's the first thing you're gonna do?
I probably go home and like rethink about this whole entire hackathon.
I'd like attack my bed because life.
So I'll probably doze off on the train, miss my stop. I'll transfer. I'll get to my stop
Eventually.
I'll walk my way home, kind of mumbling, stumbling over. I'll get to my room, and I won't take off any of my clothes, and I'll just go to sleep. And
That's kind of.
And then I'll wake
the
up,
dirt.
and then I'll rethink my life, have fun. Oh yeah, it was a nice hackathon. Maybe contact some people who are here.
So I'm thinking it's bedtime for you guys.
Yes,
It's
an actual
bedtime.
bed where my legs don't hurt.
You speak with a lot of passion.
I love what I'm
You
doing.
love what you're doing.
I do. I love what I'm doing.
I love when someone loves what they're doing because that never happens. I think the last study was like 80% of people don't like their jobs at all. So where do you get such gusto for it? Because the philanthropy space is not easy.
And it's not. It is not. It is not an easy place to, financially, it's not an easy place to work in. One of the pieces of advice that I try to give to anyone who's trying to start their own nonprofit is to define your story really well. right? So define both the story. So there's a couple real key pieces that are critical to being successful in the space when it comes to just growing the nonprofit, building a nonprofit and growing it. Defining your problem and making it something that other people can understand and associate with. Right? We have a responsibility, and we've done a lot of work around making sure that we know exactly what we're trying to do, or the problem we're trying to solve, and how it relates to anyone who would potentially support us. And then you have to define your solution. What do we do as an organization to make sure that the problem is being solved? The problem becomes smaller and smaller with every effort we make. And then tell that story of solving the problem very well. Define the story, make it concise, make it relatable, and make it personal. And then ask for advice over and over and over again, and then take the advice.
Have you ever had doubts? Like, did it ever keep you up at night that maybe we won't do this?
Buki, it doesn't work out. Like that's the beautiful part about being an entrepreneur is it fails.
Right.
It fails more often than it succeeds, but that failure is actually a success, right? So training ourselves and our students and our staff and everyone around us to recognize that even when it doesn't work out, that it's actually a learning experience for the next thing that does work out.
So you have a daughter. You have two.
I do.
One's 2, one's 11.
That's right.
Does your 11-year-old know how to code?
She does.
And does your 2-year-old know how to work an iPhone?
She does, absolutely. Yeah, my 2-year-old is she's incredibly adept at any of the screen devices in the house. They're hers. They're not anyone else's. They're definitely Sam's. Samaria runs around saying my iPhone, my iPad. My 11-year-old, she does know how to code. She's gone through the equivalent of our freshman year curriculum with a lot more coaching from me than our teachers probably have to offer to their kids. But she doesn't call it coding. Her intention is to be an inventor, which I think is a beautiful thing for an 11-year-old to think about.
We created like a website that helps students kind of get like a job. It's like
help them earn money to pay for college, like kind of like a scholarship.
So you wouldn't get the money physically. You get it into your account that builds up as you go, and when you go to college, you'll be able to use that money that you saved up and pay for college.
Yeah, and the way they earn this money is by completing community service throughout their neighborhood. So we're gonna get like company sponsors, and they're gonna help them pay for it, and it builds up for when they need it for college.
So community service turns into cash for college.
Yeah.
Our idea focuses on the fact that oppression is a really big presence in like contemporary times, and we thought that if we band together, we're able to break the limit of far-fetched and make a change.
So what exactly is the solution?
Well, it's more like when you feel like you're alone and then you think like nobody's going through the same thing. So it's like an app where like you can connect with other people that like they're actually going through the same thing but just different scenarios.
So you guys excited? Are you guys nervous? You think you're gonna win?
I'm in it to win it.
You're in it to win it?
Well, our idea is to stop procrastination somehow.
Since you guys are the motivators and you guys suffer from procrastination, have you guys submitted yet?
Well, we're working on it.
This entire thing is created for the people, by the people, and we're uniting the communities around America to like help combat this one issue and making sure that even if we can't stop it all in this like one pitch, but the end goal is to slowly decrease it gradually, and then eventually police brutality will be like gone, because the process that we have here will help people to like make sure they actually get involved, take action, and like stop it right at the heart.
And as we've been told day in, day out, knowledge is power. So with the website, we educate you on the subject. Our system provides data and legal advice, and also gives you real-time accounts of people who have been through police brutality and have survived it, and gives you tips on how to deal with this situation. People who have had similar experiences can advise you and help you through it.
So how difficult was it judging these hackers?
It was almost impossible. When I was taking notes, almost every group
they were a possible contender for a category. I was totally impressed. I was not like this in high school. They're amazing.
Confidence really in technology goes a long way. You know, you can get the skills, but do you have the confidence to go forward and actually make your skills reality? And candidly, I think for a lot of kids, it has to start when they're younger. It was really encouraging to see them mix some raw technical capabilities with, you know, being creative about their situations and things that can help them, and then actually having the confidence to put that in action, that they can actually accomplish something in a very short time frame.
And we're just looking for somebody that stood out in that category, you know, something that was being reinvented that could actually be implemented in the real world. So I tweeted, I said, one of them's going to be my boss in a few years, without a doubt.
And I have to be honest, I'm blown away by what they've put together in comparison to what they came in starting with in terms of coding skills. They have grown leaps and bounds in their coding skills within the last 24 hours, and that to me is like the coolest part of this process.
Why do you care?
It is just my responsibility. I was very fortunate at every turn of my life to be encouraged to interact with technology. My entire life, from immigrant uncles all the way up until college, the whole nine, right? Like I was encouraged to leverage my interest in tech to better my my financial position. And paying it forward is something that's very important to me. Making sure that that encouragement is provided to every student in the world is something that every kid needs to know, that the things that they are interested in, if they maintain that, if it's still interesting to them, that can make an impact on their lives. And I genuinely believe that this has computer science as a whole has an opportunity to change the future of these students' lives, of America as a whole, and of the world. I think that we are on the precipice of another industrial revolution. I think that we have a future ahead of us that is only going to get more technical and only going to get more complex. And if we can encourage these kids to stay engaged in this, we can actually change all of our lives, let alone theirs.
Has it hit you yet, since you've been director for 3 years, has it hit you yet just the magnitude that you're doing? And not just for them, but for their kids. Their kids get a bigger opportunity, a better opportunity. Their kids. You are literally changing a generation. Has that hit you, has that sunk in yet?
We do not have, you said it before, there are more students, more youth in poverty in the US than, I mean, we are a fraction of the impact that we want to have. We have not even begun to touch the surface of what we actually want to accomplish. So I am all about celebrating the wins that we've had, but they are micro wins compared to the impact that we're capable of making. I feel a genuine responsibility to make sure that every kid in the US, despite their economic situation, has access to computer science. It is our job. We're going to start with the disadvantaged communities because that's where the need is the greatest. And we are desperately going to work as hard as we can for as long as we need to make sure that every kid gets that. So we do as a team take time to celebrate the wins that are out there, but we are nowhere near done, and we have so much more work to do to make sure that every kid actually has this access.
Okay, I've been trying to code and it's not happening. So what have we learned? That sometimes it's the very people who no one can imagine anything of who do the things that no one can imagine. I'm Buki Elegbede for What Am I Doing With My Life? And I'll see you guys next time.